So the first test listed is the hot skin test. I don't have an RV, and a dealership hasn't gotten back to me. Can't seem to find one that'll let me in there. So I'm going to start with the polarity test, although I do have maybe a comment on the hot skin test in a little bit. So I'm using this tool. I made sure that I could do a polarity test, looked it up, and also went online and saw some demos on YouTube. Down where it says hot and ground reversed is where the polarity check would happen, or it would say correct wiring. I am going to use my remodeled kitchen, and I incidentally found an old circuit that was has the polarity reversed. Taking this and putting it in, I can see that the two lights are lit on the right side, and according to that, it says that that is properly wired. Interestingly enough, I went to a circuit that was part of my original kitchen. In other words, it was the wiring that was present when the house was built. As I was testing several outlets, I found this. This guy's got the red and the orange lit up. So that's telling me that this particular circuit has the hot and neutral reversed. So I've got a little bit of work to do to fix that. Now, getting back to that hot skin test, I saw a video on YouTube where the guy talked about, obviously, if your polarity is reversed, your skin of the camper, trailer, whatever, would become hot. So one of the ways that he talked about being able to test that, according to all the setup that's in the manual, is to use one of these guys. Okay, so now this is a non-contact voltage tester. And when you turn this guy on, all right, he's on. There's plastic in the tip, so there's no metal that comes in contact. Well, when I put this in the hot side, it glows red. It's getting voltage. If I put it in the ground side, or common side, it stays green. So the polarity is correct. Well, I have to use my vehicle because I don't have that camper. So checking the fluid in the coolant system, looking at the reservoir tank, it is a little bit low. So I keep a ready mixed batch of 50-50 on hand. I'm going to add a little bit to the reservoir. That should do it. The textbook also explains checking the radiator level, release the pressure. All this being done on a cold engine, of course. Push it down. Oh, and the coolant level there is really good. So I've tested the coolant system with the engine off. Okay, here's the power steering reservoir. Engine's off. I'm going to take this thing out. Wipe it down. My car is with a cold test. Put that back in there. Come on, you get in there. Okay. Check it. And need to add a little bit there. So now using a funnel, power steering fluid, need to add a little bit to this guy. I like to put a rag around things so we don't get a spill. We'll estimate a little bit at a time. And I'll check it until I get the right level. Now for a check of the oil. With the engine off, vehicle is on level ground. It's been sitting here for about 10 minutes, so I'm good. Get it out. Wipe her clean. Put her back in. Bring her out. She's about actually a half quart low. I like to check it more than once sometimes. Residual oil in, just to be certain here. Yeah, about a half quart low. So we're gonna open this guy up here, and we're gonna just add a little bit of oil of manufacturer's specified weight. So put a rag around her to prevent spills. There was about a half a quart left in this bottle, so I'm going to use it all, measured, and I would let the car sit again and check it once more. And so for the brake fluid, there's a mark on the outside of the canister which I've checked, or cleaned I should say, and I don't know if you can see it in there, but it's right at the max level, so we're good to go. Sometimes I would take the cap off and look inside too, if it was a little bit low, and fill it with the proper amount of brake fluid to the max level. Okay, now for the automatic transmission fluid check. There's the cap buried back in there. The engine is running. So I'm going to go in there, pull it out. The guy. In there. Let's bring her out. And read her. She's good. Now I am inspecting the battery poles for corrosion, and they're looking pretty good. The other one I got a tip in for right there. So I think we're good there. So you can see this battery has a lot of stuff that you gotta take apart to get at the caps for the electrolyte check. So I'm gonna use a different battery for that. So I take my hydrometer here, squeeze that bulb down, get inside there, let it fill to the testing line. Make sure the fluid line is level. And I get a reading above 1.275. in the first cell. So now I'll repeat this with each cell to compare the differences. Okay, so we get down to the last cell. Been logging all my results here. Get in there, let it fill up to the level mark. And I've got 1.275 right on the head.